riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Why I Hate This Album. I am one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey. With me as always, co-host to the stars, Garth to my Wayne, Timothy Richardson. Tim, how you doing?
I am stunned, disappointed, sad, etc.
Etc. There's more. You can't be bothered to continue.
Yeah, I am just shocked at what we've put ourselves through this week.
Tim, this week we may have exceeded the very outer boundaries of what this show can handle.
This was 95 minutes of terrible. It was, goddamn.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. What is the album of the week?
The album of the week is Corey Feldman's Angelic to the Core, released June 22nd, 2016. This was a suggestion by a couple of people, one being Luke Turgian, who, goddamn it, man, never again.
I gotta say, Luke, I have stuck up with you in the board meetings. There have been several votes, always initiated by Tim, to have you killed, and I have been the single nay in the room, and I stay with that nay for now. But dude, this was tough.
He's clearly trying to break the show, but also we should mention that this was the very first email that our show ever got. It was from somebody named Zelude, Z-E-L-U-D-E, Rose, and that was 11 or 12 months ago now, so we're 11 to 12 months late.
I completely stand behind our decision to put this off. I frankly am not 100% certain how you convinced me to do this. A double album.
The smart thing to do would have been to split it into 2 weeks.
Oh, god damn it.
Yeah, we could have had a funkadelic and a rockadelic week, but
we could still do that.
Nah.
All right, then let us march forward. Tim, I have to ask it before we go any further. Do you hate this album?
I'm not sure.
Come on!
Garrett, I will say, if you pick any minute of this album and compare it to any minute of any album we've done before, it is objectively worse, but I don't understand what this is. I don't understand Mr. Feldman. I don't understand what we're doing here, and before I make that judgment, I have to know more about this album. But here's the thing. I hesitate to even call it an album because this is not music.
It's music.
It's noise made by instruments.
There is competent music played on this album. There is.
Okay, but when there is competent music being played, it is by people who seem to be playing different songs and also
simultaneously?
Yes.
Right.
Garrett, do you hate this album?
Of course I do. Of course I do. I really hate this album.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll take me much to get there. Frankly, a light breeze might get me there this week.
Just like real life.
Yeah.
I can't even express, you said it perfectly, Tim. If you took any minute from any part of the entire 2 albums and matched it against any minute from any part of any album we've done so far on this show, it is worse.
I'm worried I might not be smart enough for something. You know, whenever somebody leaves a pair of glasses on the floor of a museum and you see people standing around it just being like, wow, somebody's a genius.
Well, I can see that happening, but no, I don't know when that happens.
Fairly recently, somebody wrote, I think on the AV Club, of somebody that literally forgot their glasses on a podium or in a museum, and people were commenting on what the artist had in mind. But the point is, I haven't even heard anyone do that for this album. Like, I can't point you to a person that has listened to this and is willing to go out on a limb and say that it is genius.
I think I see what you're saying. You're saying, even in the world of highfalutin art and art aficionados, there exists not a single person on the whole planet, 7 billion people, that is pretentious enough to pretend that we just don't get it.
Yes.
Even if it would be the most exclusive club and the most controversial point of view that would be bound to get them attention just because it's so terrible, there's nobody that could keep a straight face and go, I like it.
Yeah, no one is pulling a boarding house reach on this.
No, and fuck those people, by the way. But that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about the worst album we've ever done. You're not alone, Tim. This album did make me doubt myself as well, but not in a specific sense that perhaps I didn't get it, but just humanity and existence.
I get that a lot, actually.
Yeah, this will do that to you. Well, Tim, I'm curious. So, Corey Feldman, not necessarily known for his contributions to the musical world. What is your personal history with Mr. Feldman? And do feel free to travel among his various artistic expressions as you need.
As far as music, the only other thing of his that I have heard or seen is a bizarre performance on the Howard Stern show from 1992 playing What's Up With the Youth. And I mean, I liked the Goonies.
Hey, Tim, I gotta ask, I'm sorry to interrupt, but this is important and it's kind of weighing on me. Are you the Luke-turgian? Are you doing this? Are you the reason this is happening? Because if so, slow clap and also acid to the face.
Twitter and Instagram do not make you verify your name. Anyone can be anyone on the internet, Garrett.
I am learning that.
Yeah. The point being, I like the Goonies. I like Stand By Me. I wish he had stayed that person. Maybe if he'd got that Gary Coleman disease. Gary Coleman.
Did you just call him Gary Coleman?
Yeah. Yes, I wish he got the Gary Coleman disease. I know for a fact, though, that this is not the first time you've Corey'd.
No, I'm a Corey fan from way back, Tim. I don't even know how to begin with my personal history with the Coreys, because it's hard for me to speak of just Feldman. I will try to focus only on him, but I will have to make casual mention to Haim, R.I.P.
Once, I believe in, what was it, 1987, you applied to be the third Corey, is that right?
You couldn't be more wrong. It would have been 1990. Yes, I did apply to be the third Corey. It was difficult for a number of reasons. One, not named Corey. Weirdly, two, no application. So I had to make the application, get it notarized, which it's difficult for a 6-year-old to get things notarized. They don't take you seriously. You have the cash, you've got the document, you've got a witness, you're ready to sign, and they're just giggling and they want to take a photo with you.
You were not born in 1984.
This is going to take forever if you're going to nitpick the timeline. A 7-year-old, excuse me. So my personal history, Tim, goes all the way back to the year 1988, where I first saw Mr. Feldman in a rerun of the hit television show Family Ties, starring one Michael J. Fox. Next, I see Mr. Feldman in 1988 in Goonies. Now, he was not my favorite character. I, for whatever reason, connected more with the Asian gentleman who had gadgets. I don't know what his name was. Do you remember?
Gadget.
It might have been.
It was something racist. Go on.
I was going to say, it's probably mildly racist. Then again in Stand By Me in 1989. Same year, I caught him again in Gremlins. What a great movie. In 1990, I see him as Edgar in The Lost Boys, which is the first time I get a little bit of taste of a little something we call the Coreys. Corey Feldman, Corey Haim, same movie. Those two just have a magic on screen that would only grow with time before it horrifically soured. So then, Tim, 1990, I see a little film called License to Drive. Now, I liked this film more for the Haim of it all, but Feldman was pretty sweet as well. This was the point at which I did submit a homemade application, notarized, it was a legal document, applying to be the third Corey. However, what I've never talked to you about is the second application I submitted to replace Corey Feldman as the new Corey Feldman. Both were rejected.
Oh, you wouldn't know it for close to a decade, but you're far too tall to be a Corey.
Yeah, I had no idea. And I was, as you've pointed out multiple times, lol.
Yeah, wee even. You were a wee little boy.
Basically. My history with the Coreys does not end at License to Drive, sadly. In 1990, I saw him again voicing Donatello in the hit live-action Ninja Turtles. Then, and this was my favorite Corey Feldman film, Dream a Little Dream. I doubt you've seen this.
Never heard of it.
Well, in the late 80s and early 90s, America was just going crazy for body switching movies.
Oh, ooh.
God, was it body switching or was it coming? I think perhaps Corey Feldman was possessed by the ghost of a dead man. That might be it.
Wait, was the dead man Corey Haim?
No, it was an old man. Okay, so I think he came back to say goodbye to his widow, but in the meantime, he was helping Corey Feldman to seduce a high school girl. He was also in high school. Not the old man, but Corey Feldman.
Right. The old man came back to say goodbye to his widow and have sex with a teenager.
Well, at least be a bystander and witness the sex with the teenager.
Right. So at what point did the face-off occur in this movie?
No, it wasn't a face-off. No face switching. That wouldn't come for years later.
Okay.
Then by about 1993, I had begun to drift away from Mr. Feldman. Sadly, I did attend a birthday party in which we all went to the movies to see Ninja Turtles 3, and Corey Feldman was back voicing Donatello.
And you refer to that as the best of the Ninja Turtles movies, do you not?
No, I do not, you asshole. That's like calling Back to the Future 3 the best one.
Well, of course that's not true, but Garrett, they go to feudal Japan. What's cooler than that?
love that you know that. Whoa, you have zero cultural touch points for like a decade while you lived under the House of Saud, but you somehow latched on to Ninja Turtles 3.
Oh, yeah, it was big there.
I guess there's not much in the Quran about turtles.
Oh, you'd be surprised, Garrett. It's at least 20% turtle.
That seems high.
Yeah. Do we cut this?
No, we didn't say anything insulting. You did. I didn't.
Yeah, all right. I, being Garrett, said something insulting.
No. Quit doing that. That is Tim. We all know that's Tim. Rich timbre, raspy piss boy voice.
Not that I care for that characterization, but go on.
Sorry. In 2003, he pops up in a mockumentary called Pauly Shore is Dead, something that I found reasonably funny, and was surprised to see that Corey Feldman was still alive. That same year, he manages to be in a worse movie called Dickie Roberts, and he was not the worst part of it.
He was an honest part of it.
God damn, Tim. So in 2008, I was like, wow, Corey Feldman is a delusional lunatic. It would be another 8 years before he reached the insanity of this. How much crazier you can get in 8 years. All right, I have an exhaustive history with his film career. As for his music, I had seen him perform here and there. It was almost always to a backing track. But I should mention, in Dream a Little Dream, he does a full Michael Jackson dance sequence that's quite good. And I remember thinking as a child, what a weird coincidence. He dances just like Michael Jackson.
It is a coincidence, Garrett.
According to one person. We've talked about your history. We've talked about my history. But let's get into the history of the man, the legend, the Corey Feldman.
Well, you clearly went through most of his film history, so I will do my best to kind of skirt around that. Corey Feldman, Corfeld, Seafeld, Sea Devil, whatever you want to call him, was born in 1971. He's from Los Angeles, musician father, waitress mother. He had an older sister who was on the Mickey Mouse Club, and his terrible parents apparently saw stardom for him as well. So at 3 years old, they got him in a McDonald's commercial. Then, as you mentioned, he became one of the most popular actors of the 1980s. He's been in over 100 commercials. He's had guest roles in over 50 television shows. His movie debut was at 8, and you mentioned most of those. Did the voice on Disney's Fox and the Hound. He was in a couple of Friday the 13th sequels, Lost Boys. Around this time, he became really good friends with Michael Jackson.
That's so
kind
true.
of paralleling Macaulay Culkin, although Macaulay Culkin had the good sense to keep his musical career pizza parody based. So good for him.
Small side note, if I haven't ever mentioned it, maybe I have on the show, I have seen this band, the Pizza Underground. It's all Velvet Underground covers with pizza themed lyrics. And I gotta say, Tim, it's not bad.
Better than this. Corey said that Michael Jackson was a friend and a mentor to him, but that he also did real harm in his life. I was a 12-year-old boy who was hurt by his family, meaning Corey's family, and ignored by people at school. Michael would sit and talk to me for hours, then he would get bored. The biggest thing that Michael's done to children is befriending the ones that are in need and then abandoning them. I guess that's the real crime here.
I heard a very specific story about how they met. They met on the set of Goonies, because Michael Jackson was there for some reason. Maybe he was loaning them his pirate ship.
If Michael Jackson, what was that, 1986, 1987, if he showed up on the set of your movie and was like, I want to watch some boys act, you let him watch some boys act.
Boy, that is almost certainly what he said. Call me on the day they're in the waterfall. And then that evening, Jackson calls him at midnight just to talk.
You know, we don't have confirmation. Corey Feldman denies any sort of allegations.
No, these are his words.
He denies any sort of allegations that he was sexually abused or abused in any way other than Michael Jackson apparently got bored with his dumb fucking 10-year-old bullshit.
Of course not. I am merely pointing out that what I said is inappropriate. You don't call children at midnight, and you don't go to the set of an all-boy cast and just be like, no, I just want to watch. I couldn't figure out why he was there. It's so obvious.
Corey said that the constant work as a child was an escape from an abusive household. Troublingly, in a 2003 CNN interview, Corfeld said, I couldn't be abused too badly when I was working because they didn't want me to have bruises.
Yeah, this guy didn't have a super awesome childhood.
No, he certainly did not. At 15, he was granted legal emancipation from his parents, and they tried to claim that he was only worth about $40,000 at the time, which seems low. true. And then he got into drugs, Garrett. He really likes drugs. It ended for a while, at least in 1990, with a heroin possession arrest. His career took a nosedive. It took him several years to get back into making movies. He did get to reprise the role of Donatello's puppet in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3.
There's a man in that suit, Tim.
That can't be true.
As a sophisticated animatronic.
It's terrifying, whatever it is.
If I had all the money in the world, I would get in that suit, get a team of Jim Henson's best, and I would just wait quietly next to your bed till you awoke.
Oh, I've got some good news for you. You don't need all the money in the world. I actually own 2 of the Ninja Turtle suits. We could be wearing them right now.
I have so many questions that we have to take this entire topic off mic.
Okay.
We're just going to put a pin in it.
As you said, he does a bunch of movies, a lot with his buddy Other Corey, directed a couple of movies. While doing all of this, he had a very unsuccessful music career starting in 1992. He had a band called Corey Feldman's Truth Movement that released Love Left and Still Searching for Soul. He continues acting while he does this and appears in a bunch of music videos and releases a third poorly received album that features a cover of John Lennon's Imagine. The same year, he was featured in the music video for Moby's We Are All Made of Stars. He gets married to his second wife, rapper, rabbi, and minister MC Hammer performed the ceremony. He was on a scripted reality show, which is how the 2 Coreys was described. He was also on Celebrity Wife Swap and a web show called Corey's Angels Talk Live.
Wait, what was that last one?
I don't know, Garrett. I did not watch it. I couldn't bear any more of this man. In 2005, he was subpoenaed to testify against Michael Jackson in his child molestation trial. Corey said that he did not realize until this point that a lot of his relationship looked pretty suspicious in retrospect, although he did speak out in defense of Mr. Jackson. In 2013, he explicitly denied that Michael Jackson had molested children, saying that Michael Jackson was just not that guy.
I'd like to know his definition of molestation.
I would not.
I feel like he had some really unfortunate things happen.
Well, we'll get into that. Don't worry. We're almost
okay.
to choreography.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize there was a choreography.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
In 2010, he releases a 4th album called Technology Analogy. Corey Haim and Michael Jackson both died 2009 to 2010. That seems to have fucked him up quite a bit.
I could see that.
He released his memoir in 2013 called Choreography, which talks about his life as a child actor, the death of Other Corey, his addiction issues, and both him and Other Corey being the victim of Hollywood child sexual abuse, which he alleges is more prevalent than either sexual assault against women or, and I'm quoting here, sexism, which doesn't sound true.
I'd like to point out it's not a competition. Let's see if we can go the other way with it. Let's get those numbers down, folks.
He does seem to have had a horrible, horrible childhood and was abused in pretty much every possible way. He claimed his relationship with Michael Jackson brought him back to normalcy. I don't know what his definition of normalcy is, but no matter what it is, that is not true. I 100% understand why that book was written and probably even why it should exist. I'm not sure why you had to call it choreography. That seems like the name I would give it.
I'm interested in this book.
Yeah, we should read it. I bet it will be horrific.
And when you say we should read it?
Together. Split a book open and give it a good read. Sit there and read it together.
Both read each line aloud simultaneously.
Well, I think we should alternate lines.
I thought about that, but if we say all the words together at the same time, it'll be good for helping us to practice our timing for whenever we have to say words together at the same time.
Done. In 2016, he finally gets his act together and releases his magnum opus, Angelic to the Core. He had originally asked for $105,000 on the internet to fund the album from online donors. He only got about $15,000, though. Don't make the album, then. I think it was unwanted.
The market has spoken. I'm not looking for a handout, but I am reasonably certain that we could raise $15,000 for Texas Toast.
But everyone wants Texas Toast. No one wanted Angelic to the Core. Thankfully, though, he was able to raise the money by some other means.
I don't think he was.
Somehow he has paid for a harem of women to dress in lingerie and angel wings and follow him around like he is some sort of Stefani.
I have a very reasonable explanation for that.
Cult? Is it a cult?
In a word, yes.
On an episode of Celebrity Wife Swap, he actually introduced the Angels and was hit with accusations he was running some sort of female-only cult with legally binding contracts. His girlfriend was known as the Mangel. He wrote a Feld manual to... Jesus Christ. I hate... You know what? I hate myself in the past for having made fucking stupid nicknames for things. Yeah. These women were forced to live in his Feld mansion. I also read a Hollywood Reporter article, some choice quotes here. He said it's a show business venture he created to help girls who were kind of lost and needed help to find their way. I never indicated they were homeless, although we have worked with some that were. You know, I wouldn't say homeless, but certainly in some desperate circumstances and looking for a way out. The world is a very cruel place sometimes, and when you're a beautiful woman, if you're an artist and you turn 18, they pack their bags and have their dreams of the big city, and then they get eaten up in a month or two with all the predators out here. When asked if their contract says they have to promise to maintain their weight, well, I mean, yeah, there are certain rules that we have. That's what the contract is based on. Do the women all live with you in the house? No. I mean, sometimes they do. But again, like I said, we have worked with girls who are literally down and out and have nothing. They'll be like, I have nothing. I need a place to stay. I need a wardrobe. I need help with makeup. So we'll say, hey, look, it's okay. You can come stay here. That's cool. We'll help you out. But all we ask is that you're loyal.
Okay. Hold on. I'm glad you said that because I need to call out a quote that you have not yet addressed, but it mirrors what you just said perfectly. Mr. Feldman says, we find the girls that we think are, first of all, virtuous and honest and loyal. Because if they don't have integrity and they're not straight shooters, then we probably don't want to be, getting behind them. Interesting choice of words. If they seem to be a good fit, then we will focus on their talent. And by talent, we of course mean vagina.
Right.
We'll get photos done for them. I'll take photos of them nude. We'll, introduce them to people. Okay. We'll take them out to events. We'll get them auditions, whatever we can do for them. But we'll also create our own in-house production stuff, like our music videos, like the album. What does he mean by loyal, Tim?
I don't know. I have a few more quotes. The interviewer said, I think a concern here is that you're taking a Hugh Hefner approach to mentoring talent, to which he replied, correct. We are giving women the love and support that they need to know that they are beautiful the way they are. And they don't have to sleep with me. They don't have to sleep with anyone, ever. To which the interviewer said, is there a minimum age requirement? To which Corey Feldman very tellingly said, we're very against prostitution. Yes, 18.
What?
The only other thing, in 2017, after the Harvey Weinstein allegations came out, Corey tried to get a film financed about his life to expose secret child sexual abuse in Hollywood. He also went on the Today Show and Dr. Oz and named at least 3 people he said had abused him and Corey Haim. Haim? Is it Haim?
What do you mean, is it Haim?
In March of 2018, he was stabbed a few times in what he describes as a vile wolf pack that he said was threatening him on social media as a result of him exposing Hollywood pedophiles.
Wait.
Oh, okay, hold on. Because also of note, police investigating the incident said there were no lacerations found on his body after said stabbing.
You cannot call... Fun experiment, Tim. Call the police. Tell them you've been stabbed. Then when they show up and you have not been stabbed and they examine your body, the EMT shows up, probably the fire department, and you have no stab marks, you're going to jail.
Why does the fire department show up so much? There's no fire.
I don't know. Crowd control?
I feel like it's muscle.
In case like a car needs to be rolled over.
All right.
Well, I mean, it's the one profession that if you are on the job, for the most part, you're physically strong. Like cops, that does not seem to be a minimum mandatory standard. Okay, Tim, excellent history, thorough, fascinating.
Maybe. I can't say it's thorough. There's probably a lot of crazy bullshit that neither one of us bothered to look up.
Oh, yeah. I could do an entire podcast just on he had some random reality TV show where it was he and his fiance who seemed to be some horrible person.
Well, she's a mangel?
No. This was pre-sex cult.
Oh.
This woman just ran his shit. So that's probably why I ended up turning to like abused runaways and confused foreign exchange students. And hey, they don't have to sleep with him.
Garrett, they have to sleep with him.
If they want to, they can, but they don't have to, Tim.
Is this one of those things where just coincidentally 100% of them happen to want to?
So far.
In 2015, you did apply to be one of his angels. You're here with me now, so I assume you didn't make the cut.
Well, have you seen his angels?
Yeah.
I mean, physically, I stack up.
The beard's a little out of place.
I think my hips would have compensated.
You do have childbearing hips.
I'm curvy, sure. So that brings us to general thoughts. Let's see what the general has to say. I hate this.
What in God's name even is this? He's clearly mentally ill. I think that's the one reason that I can say I don't really hate this. I mean, I do hate it. Garrett, I hate this album.
Yeah,
to be clear.
Of course you do. Okay, so Tim, you've just posed the big question that we have to answer. Is this sad?
Yes.
What? Easy. Is this sad? Or is he doing his thing? Just fuck everybody else. I'm making my music. I was on the Today Show and millions of people watched.
Oh, it's definitely both.
Oh, can it be both?
Of course it can. He is so delusional that like
it's magnificent. It's like a 17-year-old me.
Just pretending you were tall.
No. Sadly, that was the only deficiency I had overcome.
Oh, pretending you were cool, I guess.
Pretending I had an actual human personality that didn't repulse others.
He is delusional enough to believe that these songs would become hits. He believed genuinely he would be recognized in his own right as a talented musician because of the songs that appear on this album.
If you ask him about these songs tomorrow, he's still waiting for it to hit. There's a lot of buzz. Did you see his performances on the Today Show? Got a lot of hits. Still getting hits. Got a lot of hits this last week.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of Chris Gaines. I mean, it's obviously way worse than Chris. It seems like this is a guy that's way out of his element and just does not seem to understand the type of music he's making. You know, it reminded me of those Chris Gaines R&B attempts.
Yes, I think you're spot on. This reminded me of C. Gaines. Even when everybody, with the exception of Corey Feldman, is musically doing things right, it never locks in.
Musically, it's sort of impossible to give this a genre because it's all over the place. It seems to kind of consistently miss the genre it's shooting for, even on individual songs. It is music at parts, but I mean, that's honestly the best I can say about it is technically this qualifies as music. The singing, he's not good at it. He doesn't seem to have an ear for music or melody. There's two things wrong here. One, it's completely off rhythm and it's off key and out of tune so badly that whenever he uses auto-tune on this thing, he broke it. He's so tone deaf that auto-tune can't get him to the right place.
It just can't get sweet enough. It is at peak sweet. Tim, new rapping name. Peak Sweet.
I'll be Peak.
No, it's just your name.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go by Peak.
Then we're back to am ambiguous.
Okay. I like that one too. A lot of it sounds like he's doing a bad Michael Jackson impression.
Oh, yeah. I call it his Shimon voice. Shimon!
Yeah.
Come but you can.
Jesus Christ. I mean, it's kind of impressive from the standpoint that it's an achievement in the field of failure.
Yes, he has failed the hardest of 2016.
This is Bono covering Hallelujah bad.
That is in my notes as well later.
This is, you remember that part in Spider-Man 3 where emo Spider-Man dances and has a Hitler haircut and he's cool and he punches women in the face?
Yes.
This is like the musical equivalent of that scene.
Yeah, it's a 90-minute version.
It's like an alien's guess at what cool might look like to humans.
Tim, your analogy couldn't be more apt. As somebody who was a former Corey head, to see something, much as I was a fan of Spider-Man, be just abused and morphed into something that I didn't just hate, but...
You hated it so much that you blocked most of that out. Because years later, I mentioned the fact that at one point, Peter Parker punches a woman in the face, and you had completely blocked that out of your mind. You had no idea what I was talking about and had to rewatch Spider-Man 3 because you called me a liar.
Yeah, we had a vigorous argument. If I recall, we were in a hotel room. Several noise complaints.
Yeah.
What were we doing?
We were fighting. We were punching each other.
We did not get a hotel room to fight.
Oh, I don't know what we were planning on doing, but we were wrestling around, punching each other.
No, we were not. Jesus Christ.
What'd you think of the skits?
They are as bad as they are inconsistent. Okay, I'm going to give him a compliment. As we've mentioned, he has this theme of Corey's Angels. He takes on the role of Charlie from Charlie's Angels in many of the skits. I thought he did a pretty good job at that voice.
Sure.
That's it. I've got quotes I pulled from those skits because, Tim, I don't know if I can point to any one thing that makes me know that the government should get involved with investigating this situation with these women, but the sum of the parts just add up to a big neon sign pointing at his house saying, subpoena.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, search warrant.
I agree. And I think the skits don't help the defense.
I was kind of weighing in my mind, are the skits or are the songs more defamatory, helpful to the prosecution, the soon-to-be likely prosecution?
Unclear. I will say that the skits I hated more than the Insane Clown Posse skits.
Oh, me too. It made the Insane Clown Posse skits seem like told a real, complete story.
Yeah.
Is it possible that Insane Clown Posse was less misogynistic? And Tim, my misogyny radar is dull.
Yeah.
It's just a blind spot, and I can admit that. Admitting your faults is almost as good as fixing them.
Yeah.
But I'm appalled by his existence. And I used to love this man. I thought he was the coolest thing on the planet.
He was. It's him that has changed. Not you.
Is it his fault, though?
And that's part of why I said originally I'm not sure if I hate it, because I don't know that this is his fault.
I want him to be happy, but very little points to that being the case.
That's true, but I don't want him to be happy as a result of proceeds from this album or accolades from this album.
Obviously, this couldn't have made him any money.
No. You mentioned the Charlie's Angels. He also has a little Mission Impossible in there. He's got the 1960s Batman theme music in there.
Yeah, he does.
He's got something that I'm not sure if it's sampled from the theme from Shaft, but if it's not, it's a ripoff.
I think it's a ripoff because I also picked up on it, so I went back and listened to it. The Shaft one's, put simply, it is the version on the Feldman album is like a kid trying to play the Shaft version by ear. It's missing several notes, but the gist is there, which is what I suspect happened, is Corey Feldman did it by listening to it and left out several notes. Okay, let's get some basic metrics out of the way because I'm sure a lot of our listeners did not bother with this album. And let's start right there. It's not album, folks. It's two. It's a double LP. We're talking 95 minutes of pure, unadulterated, uncut Corey. And it's horrid.
It sure is. 22 songs.
He can't sing, he tries. He can't rap, he tries. He tries to be emo. He tries to be industrial. He tries to be, what am I missing, loungy?
He tries to be Michael Jackson repeatedly.
How could I forget? Half of this album is a poor Michael Jackson impersonation.
It's a worse Michael Jackson impersonation than I would have.
Yeah, and guys.
For about 30 minutes, I practiced my Michael Jackson in front of Garrett before we hit record, and I am not allowed to, apparently. And I'm gonna abide by that. I agreed to it before we started.
The longer he did it, the more it sounded like Eddie Vedder.
He tries to Eddie Vedder a little bit on this. He tries to Marilyn Manson a little bit on this.
Oh, yeah. He's all over the map, and he never pulls any of it off, maybe with one exception.
I'll be interested to know what you think that is. I hope it's the last song.
No spoilers. Track number 1, Ascension Millennium.
So this song/skit begins with a lot of wind, then what sounds like a demon, but is supposed to be God.
A god, Tim.
A god, sure. A god who can't find his keys.
Okay, that struck me as weird too. Omnipotent being, he knows where his keys are, right?
Apparently not. He has lost the keys to the heavenly gates, but he finds them.
Okay, heavenly gates. That's what he was opening. I was so confused why God had angels locked up.
No, I think he's just locked himself out of his house being heaven.
I feel like he locked himself in his house.
That could be. Okay, so he has lost the keys to release the angels from his house to Corey's house.
Yes.
He is transferring his angels to Corey. So Corey, in a sense, is the new God.
I think that's what Corey's saying, yes.
I mean, it definitely is.
I had no earthly idea. I have so many notes on why God might have a jail or a cage filled with angels.
He's got some sort of Toby Keith room.
I don't know. We're talking about your Lord and Savior here. I don't know if you want to talk about him having a room. Oh, what if Toby's got a God room? What would that look like? He's just a bunch of like
it looks the exact
clouds.
same.
All the rooms look the same. This is the circus room. They're all just black rooms with no windows and a lot of handcuffs.
Yeah,
This is the party room. It looks a lot like the clown room and the elephant room and the dreaded buffalo room.
Oh, there was a buffalo room. Jesus Christ, Garrett has a buffalo room in his past. Please tweet at him to ask what that's about, because I have never gotten the full story. The direct quote is, "Please, mommy, no more buffalo room." I don't know what that means, but please find out. I hated this song the first time I heard it, but
Boy, you didn't even know what hate was.
in retrospect, this might be one of the better songs on this album. To be clear, it still sucks, though.
It's embarrassingly bad.
He says Ascension Millennium 50 times in this song.
He sure does.
And the lyrics are almost exclusively new age nonsense that are absolutely meaningless.
Well, I would like to ascribe a bit of meaning to him, if I may. I've done some digging. I've crawled into the mind of Seefeld, and I think I can help you to understand what these words mean.
Oh, please. I'd love to know.
Okay, so by verse 2, Corey is moving straight into that tried and true position within a sex cult of the leader whom everyone needs to bang. And he expresses this by saying, giving peace and giving love like the feathers of a dove. You can lift your feet above and let it thrill you full of joy like a toy for your soul. Let it go now. Let it go now. Gotta go now.
Huh.
I think it's a very light and subliminal suggestion to lift one's ankles and just let it go.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, not my words, Tim. I do not endorse anything that we are going to discuss today. If anything, I feel like I should lead a march or a parade, whichever one's more appropriate, against this.
Yeah, I agree. This is protest worthy.
I wonder how many times a protest has turned into a parade. Ooh, maybe that's how parades were invented. Ooh, maybe that's how protests were invented.
So at some point, the parade, everyone just kind of gets pissed off and they stop and just start arguing and eventually
and then it
chanting.
They all find a common person to hate, and then they march on the Capitol.
All right. Some other lyrics on this song. Now your time has almost come. Instead of running from the gun, we can relax and have some fun. Okay. Our souls are free, captive no more. And though we face our biggest fear, with all the music you will hear, your destiny will suddenly become clear. There is no hell and no end, so ascend. He is going to murder these people. He is going to murder his angels.
Well, they're not going to be murdered, Tim. They will be aided in ascending.
They will find that spaceship behind the comet.
That was utter nonsense. No one's buying that Hail Bob shit in 2016. No, this makes sense. This adds up. Although, I will pose an alternate theory, and I think yours is probably more accurate. Perhaps we're just dealing with a very sloppy metaphor. Earlier, he made it quite clear that he wanted people to just stop resisting and have sex with him. Could it be that what you read may be a very sloppy, again, metaphor for sex? Just giving in and letting go, and, isn't it a remedy for your soul or some chicken soup bullshit?
That sounds right.
And again, we should point out that most of this song is sung in that Michael Jackson Shimon voice.
Yeah. Would you like to talk about the music video?
There's a lot going on and absolutely nothing at the same time. I will keep it brief if possible. He gets out of bed with an angel. She gets dressed, and by that I mean she puts on a bra. Then we see him going from room to room of his Feld mansion, seeing all the other angels waking up.
These are the angels that he did not bang last night, but will be banging in future nights.
Well, none of them have to have sex with him, Tim.
But they all will.
Well, 100% of them have so far. I assume it's kind of like a volleyball thing. Depending on the night of the week, like they rotate who's in the serving position. I guess receiving position.
Jesus. I don't like this man, and to be honest, I don't really like you right now.
What did I do?
You're gross, Garrett.
I am merely trying to figure out how they figure out who sleeps with Corey.
I don't know, and I don't want to know. Anyway,
You didn't.
The rest of the angels are getting into their uniforms.
And Sean Astin's there for some reason.
I think Sean Astin is there because Thanos said no.
What?
Well, Sean
Brolin.
Astin was
Right.
Goonies co-star, as was Josh Brolin.
I can't imagine Brolin and Feldman are friends.
100% Josh Brolin had a voicemail that he just deleted.
Hey, bro, it's Corey. Feldman, not him. No, I know you know my voice.
Oh, he would
Listen.
not make that joke, Garrett. He is genuinely heartbroken.
Oh, right. Yeah, I got to assume that Astin gets that call. He's like, God, it's Feldman. No, I better answer. Gotta be a good guy. And then he ends up in a music video and he hates himself for it. Whereas Brolin, he gets that number and He's just like, no. He keeps his phone number in his phone just to know when not to answer. You ever have any of those?
I had somebody in college that instead of putting their name in my phone, I just wrote do not answer.
You never found out who it was?
Well, I knew who it was whenever I did that, but after a while
okay.
you forget and you just know I don't answer.
Sure. That makes sense. It would be much greater if a number showed up in your phone as do not answer, but you don't recall doing it.
I gotta answer that phone call.
Right, but don't.
Anyway, Garrett, we have to move on. The rest of the music video, he essentially wanders around his house where a party is happening. He fake sings poorly. He does a lot of Michael Jackson dancing. He does the hat thing.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to his home studio where a band is doing a poor job of fake playing instruments, and then is back to bed with another angel.
Yep.
Or slave.
They've rotated. Angel.
Disciple.
I don't think they do much for him. Yeah, not much that doesn't involve his dick.
Track number 2, Love and Lies. Love and Lies starts off with another God/Satan pronouncement, and the Lord said, "Thou shalt not lie."
Tim, I gotta be honest. This is where I checked out.
All right, and we're done with the song by song.
No, sadly, we're not. I don't have a lot here. It's excellent high school poetry, a little selection I captured. Don't tell me your lies, because I will not be wise. Love is your disguise, but the truth is in your eyes. I mean, straight out of the Notebook, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Throw some alarming illustrations next to it, soak it in a tiny amount of blood, and you're good to go.
Musically, the synth line of this song kind of sounds like every 80s song ever.
Yeah, it's super generic. The only thing that's remarkable about this song is that they auto-tuned his voice to the point that it gave me vertigo.
Sure, and it still couldn't get him in tune.
It's at peak sweet. It can't go sweeter, Tim. They cannot sweeten that voice any further without just turning it into a straight robot. It actually makes me nauseous in this song. That's probably why I have very little to say about it. I just suffered through it quietly.
You were not quiet. I heard you screaming.
That was unrelated. Oh. I was fighting a wasp.
That is a loud activity for you.
Funny story, though. Turned out to be 2 large bees.
Oh, they joined up? Were they wearing a tiny...
No, shut the fuck up.
Were they wearing a tiny overcoat? So it seemed like just a wasp?
Yeah, and a hat.
Track number 3, Angelic to the Core. Every instance where a word or part of a word can be replaced by a number, he goes for it. It drives me fucking crazy.
We've discussed this before where we've seen people that just have the worst possible instincts. Arguably, when it comes to friendship, you are one of these people. At least I don't know what to call this.
Our everything.
Nope. A colleague?
No.
It sounds...
Life partners.
What? No. What's lower than colleague? Subservient. No, that's wrong. You work for me.
Heterosexual soulmate.
I don't think we're even close.
Maybe we're viewing this differently. I don't know.
You've wildly derailed me. More cult talk in this song. In the skit, it's back to the Corey's Angels theme. He is giving his angels their mission, but I want to read off a little bit of this mission because I honestly am not sure what the objectives are. So part 1 of the mission, I need you to go out there and spread love, light, and truth to all the people of the earth. Okay, so that is directly from a cult. Go spread love, light, and truth to all the people of the earth. Part 2 of their mission, once they get done with the whole earth, they need to get funkadelic and rockadelic with their mission. I wish, honestly, he'd told them that first, because they'd done the whole first part getting neither funkadelic nor rockadelic. I wonder if he realized that. Anyway, number 3, the third part of their mission, and as he says, it is the most important, angels. Don't forget to be sexy. And then he corrects himself and says, the most important thing, of course, is for you to go out and gather everybody on your team for test 1. That implies, I want to point it out right here, test 1, the last track on the first disc, God, I hate this album, is called Test 1. So that implies that the mission in this song is necessary to round up a bunch of people needed for the events of Test 1, right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, well, we'll revisit it Test 1.
All right. Now get out there and please, for God's sakes, be angelic to the core. Let me ask you what some lines in verse 1 mean. Dark seed dirting in me. Take 'em with my happy thoughts, disparaging me. You will drip, see, living in fee.
What he's saying is that by his nature, he tends to look at the dark side of things, the glass is half empty sort of approach, but he's saying that he will take a bit of cheer and a positive mental attitude and turn it around so that he doesn't slowly dry of all of his energy.
I think it's about him being molested. Dark seed.
Oh, come on.
All right. Dirting in me. Never heard that phrased that way. And
I've never heard anything phrased that way.
I think when he says, take them with my happy thoughts, I think he's saying they're taking his happy thoughts away and disparaging him.
Maybe he is doing away with his sad memories with his happy thoughts.
Could be.
Happy thoughts are taking away the sad memories of the things dirting in him.
I hope that's true.
Horrible. I hope it's my thing and not your thing.
Absolutely. I hope that too. We can't say for sure, though. The lyrics past verse 1 in the chorus are not available anywhere on the interwebs. And he does his bad Michael Jackson voice all over the place, so it's very difficult to understand him. We had the boys down in the Why I Hate This Album labs, and the lab's brand new supercomputer working on what the lyrics are, but even that combination could not crack some of these.
No, I'll tell you what. The AI came up with 11,266 different permutations of this album that were better, but were not the words being spoken in here. I don't think we can say it enough, Tim. With rare exception, for the next rest of these two albums, lyrics are kind of a guess on our part. I don't know what it is, but you cannot understand him half of the time. He has multiple voices where you don't know what he's saying.
I think at some point in verse 2, he says he needs suicide to get through the night.
I heard that too.
That can't be right, though.
Well, not in the traditional sense.
No. I mean, I'm just saying that can't be what he actually said.
Oh, sure it can, Tim. He sings about all sorts of stupid things in this.
Track number 4, Forbidden Attraction, featuring Kaya Jones.
I'll tell you what I didn't appreciate. Having to do research on who Detective Jones is. The angels are sent to go get Detective Jones.
And there's mention in Angelic to the Core skit too, right?
They're saying be careful because she has a forbidden attraction. We don't really know what that means. Essentially, the angels cannot handle the sexiness of Miss Kaya Jones, aka Detective Jones, so they have to call in Corey to kidnap her and join his sex cult.
Corey has to be called in to handle it.
I was going to say tame.
Handle it.
Enslave. Can we say enslave?
We can, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's happening, right? Sex slaves?
Yeah. He sings in a Marilyn Manson-like growl, kind of a hiss growl.
Whisper growl? Hiss growl, because it isn't a whisper, it's a hiss.
What is this song about? Can I read some lyrics?
Sure.
I've been looking at you, kid. The way I move it makes you want it. The way you walk in that place, I know you want a piece. Touched your eyes when you're on my hips. Then I look at your... That's hard. Here's a thing. Don't touch other people's eyes under any circumstances.
What if it's a face waterfall?
You can touch an eyelid. I'll let you touch my eyelid if you want.
I have tried to touch your eyelids and you freak out.
Yeah, well, I know what you're going to do. You're going to try and slip that finger under my closed eyelid.
I'm going to touch those pubes.
Yeah, don't do that. I will kill you.
We'll see. I'm going to get him.
Forbidden attraction, a long time coming. You need me, desire. Come quench my fire. Whatever that means, it's not good.
He never goes to the trouble of explaining what the forbidden attraction is. Is it just that he was supposed to kidnap Detective Jones, and so he's not supposed to get romantically involved? But that doesn't make any sense because the whole purpose of kidnapping her is to join a sex cult.
Come on, boy, play with me. I want to give you a taste because you've been making me wait. That's a lyric from this song.
He wrote that.
Yeah, he wrote that and then didn't immediately burn that piece of paper.
Are you burning many things you write down?
If I write down, come on, boy, play with me, I want to give you a taste because you've been making me wait. If I see that I've written that, I will absolutely burn that paper.
I can't agree more because living with you this past year, I have seen and heard and smelled shocking things. But if I stumbled casually onto a piece of paper where that was written freshly, I would have quietly just left all of my things in the house and you never would have heard from me again.
I think you would have been in your rights to barricade the door and set the house on fire.
Like a citizen's arrest with fire.
Yeah, a citizen's arson.
Stand back, man. This is a citizen's arson. There's a really bad guy in there, and I'm going to burn him down. Really Freddy Krueger ya?
That did happen in that movie. They committed a citizen arson murder.
They did.
The only other thing that we should mention is this starts out with another irrelevant skit. This one is the first one, I think, that has the 60s Batman theme, and then it gets shafty. By shafty, I mean the theme from Shaft, not,
I mean, it also gets vaguely industrial at one point, so who's to say what's in there, right? I think this is the first song he attempts to full-on sing in when he stops doing his Manson hiss, because a lot of times he's whisper hissing, growl singing, outright talking, but when he sings, that's the unauto-tunable.
It is.
Track number 5, Cross the Line. Kind of opens like a Jack White song. Some bleeps and blorps.
Modern day Jack White.
Right.
This song consists of 4 words, Garrett, a single line, and it is 4 minutes long.
Exactly. It is the most obnoxious, extreme version of a problem that plagues these 2 albums at a macro and micro level. Macro level, why is this 2 albums? What in the holy fuck is he thinking? At a micro level, why is every song 4+ minutes?
Especially because he has nothing to say. His life up to this point justifies him taking it out on society in a grand way. This album is too far.
Dude. You make it sound like he's going to plan some sort of mass killing.
No, I didn't. I did not imply that, nor did I say it.
Take it out on society in a grand way?
Yeah, perhaps he produces an album that's sheer garbage.
Nobody talks like that. All right, let's move on. Track number 6, Bad People.
This is the one that has the really on the nose Shaft.
Yeah, dumbed down Shaft. It's the intro to the skit with Corey telling the angels to get away from bad people. There's a lot of bad people out there. And it sounds like it's the police and they're shooting at them. So we're already kind of getting them mentally prepared for the scenario in which the police are assaulting the compound to free the angels.
I mean, I assume they're brainwashed enough that they will be firing on the police when that happens.
Boy, that would be fascinating, wouldn't it? Just a full-on, like, Heat-style semi-assault rifle showdown in the middle of downtown Los Angeles, but they're all wearing lingerie. Wings, halo, and cheap lingerie. That is my kind of shootout. Hey, Robert Rodriguez, are you listening? You can put something like this together.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't. I mean, he's just down the street.
Yeah, but I mean, we got an email from him the other day. He loves this show.
I never see these emails from these celebrities, but I'm glad to hear it.
Musically, I was not expecting this. There are actual instruments, including a harmonica played by Mr. Feldman.
Poorly.
Yeah, again, it's poorly played and inexplicably played over a bad Michael Jackson backing track where it just does not belong.
Of course. Nothing about this makes any sense. It's pants on a flamingo. I'm trying not to be redundant, Tim.
We need to throw that concern right out the window. We are not the ones being redundant. He is being redundant and forcing us to comment on it.
The chorus is something like where he lists all the qualities of bad people. It's everything I hate about you or something to that effect.
He says, bad people, they beat you, they cheat you, they'll lie right to your face. Bad people, they're evil, deceitful, mother's own disgrace. Everything I hate about you, I hate you.
See, now if you switch everything I hate about you to, but it's everything I love about you, I love bad people. Now you got yourself a Toby Keith song.
That's true.
All that shit you were singing, and then it's like, but it's everything I love about you. I love bad people. She's raunchy and she drinks and she's kind of a whore.
We should do another. Toby Keith needs to be one of our artists that we revisit this year. What is wrong with that man?
I don't know. Oh, well, lack of taste. Speaking of, back to this. I don't have much to say here. The song ends with them speeding away in a car, I guess, that crashes.
Sure. I don't know.
These skits don't make any sense. I'm looking for a through line. It's flimsy.
Track number 7, Duh.
This is troubling. The words in here are deeply disturbing. So we get another skit, a very obvious joke about the angels needing to be debriefed, where Corey even laughs. He needs to understand why the bad people were shooting at the angels, I guess. And then he defines what duh is, because he asks, why were they shooting at you? And all of the girls just say, it was like duh. And then we learn that duh is an acronym for Done Under the Halo. and anything done under the halo is acceptable. Tim, this is how you justify abuse in a cult.
Yeah.
No. Grandmaster Corey didn't do that. That was done under the halo. The Lord did that, which means you needed it.
Now, I have noticed over the past week that you have installed a giant gold ring in the center of our bedroom, kitchen, living room area. What, why?
Not really of any of your concern.
It's not a halo, right? Like, you're not going to do stuff under the halo.
A lot of wild accusations getting thrown around here. What are you talking about?
No, because I only ask because this morning, while I was yet asleep, you kicked me in the ribs. And after I got done coughing, you just pointed up at the gold ring.
Where's the confusion? I see what the problem is. Okay, yeah, so I kicked you in the ribs, Tim, because I thought you were choking. And as a good friend would, I gave you a swift kick to the ribs, and it seemed to clear things right up.
I was not choking.
Loosened it up.
I was asleep, Garrett.
How do you know you were asleep?
Yeah, I do sleep eat.
If that's what you call falling asleep while eating.
It is, because I continue eating after I fall asleep.
I would argue you don't, and that's the problem. And then, when I saw that you had woken up and didn't thank me, rude, you looked at me and I showed you that I had just gotten done painting the circle.
All right. It's not a halo, though, to be clear. You know what? Let's move past it. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Okay, great.
Some lyrics on this seem to be about how all women think he's sexy and well-dressed.
Well, did you see the music video?
I didn't.
It's not great. It's kind of confounding. I'm actually going to leave out a lot of it. Needless to say, he is at home with his boring wife when a bunch of angels, aka clearly porn stars, come to pick him up for a video shoot. And his wife is like, "Oh, hey girls, what are you guys doing today?" And they're like, "Oh, we gotta go." And then they go off to have a sexy, dancey time. He and his lady slaves do like a bunch of choreography. The choreography is really funny. It's kind of worth watching just to see that that's the one. Like, we don't live in the age of film. You can do it over and over and over till Jennifer gets her timing right. I mean, yeah, she's never gonna, because she's just dumb as a sack of rocks. And she's also malnourished and abused and undereducated. Well,
that's not better.
Tragic. No, it's not better. Oh. I'm sorry. Did you think it was going to be better?
I did, yeah. I was hoping.
She's living in a sex cult.
That's true. Yes.
Honestly, if he was just making them do pornography, it might be better than these music videos.
It would certainly be less weird.
More tasteful.
Some choice lyrics. I like angels. That's my thing. Women want to get on my tip. That's crazy. Everybody knows my name ain't Stacy. I forgot my lines, but I'm going to remember in a minute because I'm the best rapper in the whole wide world.
In the music video, it's clear that he's trying to rap and then he fucks up and then he tries to make a joke out of it. In reality, he's just really, really bad at rapping. Which, you know what? I never expected Corey Feldman to be good at rapping. Just don't rap.
Whenever I was watching The Goonies, I never once in my life was just like, I'm going to have to listen to this asshole rap someday. And then I'm going to have to talk about it. And also, there's some angels there.
If you were a time traveler talking to your child self watching Goonies about this, you would have just, you would have lost your mind. It would have been a 12 Monkeys situation. They'd have locked you away.
You know what? I might have gone back to tell my younger self, get in touch with Corey and warn him.
Wait, which Corey?
Honestly, both of them. But Corey Feldman is currently in a worse place than Corey Haim.
Corey Feldman is in a worse place than 8 feet below the surface of the earth.
Yes. I would rather be dead than have my name on this album.
Wow.
Track number 8, Everybody, featuring Doc Ice. This is another song that talks about waking up, which is weird. Also, have faith and let go, 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 let go.
Let go of everything you thought was important. You have to smile ear to ear.
This is another song that fits with the he's running a cult. He's like a lazy cult leader. He's not even trying to sound profound.
Well, that's the problem that plagues him in almost every facet of his adult life, Tim. This whole album feels half-assed. We're in a digital age. He could have kept trying. I think you could make a better album with Corey Feldman than this. I think Corey Feldman can make a better album than this. Step 1, make it one disc. 10 tracks.
Yeah.
The 22 makes me think that he's happy. The fact that it's 22 makes me think that like he's like, no, man, I got to get it all out.
Think about this. Whenever Corey Feldman dies, they're going to find a bunch of B-sides for this album in his vault, and then we're going to have to listen to those and talk about it on this goddamn show.
No, because you can't listen to albums that are in the garbage.
Yeah, Garrett and I will purchase those B-sides, however many millions of however many hundreds of dollars that takes, and we will destroy them.
This song doesn't matter. The moral of it is everybody follow us, put on a happy face, lead a positive life, and everything will work out. But most importantly, you don't have to, but you can have sex with Corey.
Yeah, and you will. You're not being forced to, but
nobody's asking you to do it.
But you will inevitably end up having sex with Corey.
That is to say, no one has said no. 100% of the time they've said yes. So
there's got to be some sort of implications in this house, Garrett.
Let's put it this way, Tim. You're homeless. You don't know what to do. You've been chewed up and used by LA and you're ready to head back home, but you just can't face all those people who said you'd never make it. And then I come along and I dust you off and I put you in a big old mansion and I say, hey, don't worry about it. Tons
Garrett,
of food downstairs. Help yourself. What's up?
You replace LA with Austin? This is actually starting to sound really familiar. We lived in a rather big house. I was but a young lad. You are a much older, more experienced gentleman at the time.
You were down on your luck.
There was a time in my freshman year in college where I ate exclusively apples for an entire week because I couldn't afford anything else. They were 49 cents and I figured I had enough money to not die if I ate only apples. You Corey Feldman me. I am your angel. I have not been doing my duty as your angel.
No, that's cool, man.
Yeah, and I'm Garrett. I'm a...
Tim, please. Okay, so hold on. Just stop. Put it down. Unfortunately, this is audio, so you guys can't see what's happening right now. But Tim, you claimed as though this was an instant revelation in the moment. So explain to me, one, why you have a halo here in the studio today, and two, had it ready to pull out and put and affix to, I can't even tell what. How is that attached to you? And where did it come from? How long have you been planning this? You're not my angel. I think I see what you're doing, and I got to shut it down. I was going to let it go because it was funny, but I think you're more serious than I thought, and I need it to stop.
I'm very serious. Track number 9, Lickety Splicket, featuring Corrupt. The phrase is lickety split, right?
Yes, I've never heard anyone say lickety splickety.
To make sure, I went to the internet. According to Urban Dictionary, lickety split means very quickly, taking place in only a few milliseconds. It also means when you make a V with your middle and forefinger and aggressively lap your tongue between to entice females with the suggestion of oral sex.
Is that enticing?
Apparently. That's what... I mean, I've never done it in an enticing way. Actually, I've never done it at all.
Yeah, I can't imagine doing that to a woman and having her react positively.
We've got 14 people in the lab now, Garrett.
8 of them are women.
That's true. You know what?
It looks like we got enough for a small sample size.
Yeah.
We'll call them in one by one. We'll tell them that, I don't know, we have some mundane announcement that everybody's getting an extra day off this year, and then we'll just never send out any follow-ups. But in the course of that, one of us, and we can take turns or draw straws, however you want to do it, we'll do this aggressive tongue move and just kind of see if they try to bang us.
Yeah, we'll lickety split them.
My mom used to say lickety split a lot.
Yeah, she was definitely talking about definition number 2.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, you know she was doing that because after she said lickety split, she did a lickety split to illustrate her point.
God, come on.
Well, okay, let me rephrase. She meant the definition number 1, but to illustrate her point, she would do definition number 2. Okay.
Yeah, she had no idea what she was doing.
Speaking of not knowing what you're doing, there is some beatboxing on this song by Mr. Feldman.
Oh, he's bebopping and scatting all over this thing.
Yeah.
Also, Tim, there is a very special line in here, and you probably didn't catch it because there's no lyrics anywhere on the internet for this. But I caught it. It is from another famous band that we did.
Been around the world? No,
but you're close. Oh, that's what it reminded me of. Which is that? Is that in this song? Been around the world.
Yep.
That reminds me of all around the world. Yeah, just that part. But in this song is Smash Mouth's seminal lyric, "All that glitters is gold."
Oh, that's right.
It took me forever to confirm. Had the boys in the lab there overnight. They're exhausted. Didn't give them the day off.
No, of course not. This song also bravely comes out against liars. Corrupt
Yes.
says, I hate it when people don't do what they say they are going to do, to which Corey replies, I hate it too. Then
Yes.
later, also Corrupt, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to say what I mean, and I'm going to mean what I say. And then he says something about the sex trade, but I couldn't quite figure out what it was.
I didn't catch that. Goodness. So that opening part, what he's saying is Corrupt is angry when people say they're going to do something and then they don't do it. And then Corey is chiming in and saying, I agree. I wish when they say they would do it, they'd do it lickety-splickety.
Oh,
And
you know
that's
what?
the basis for the whole song.
Good song.
No.
There's a lot of like old school 80s style rap attempts in this song. And then it ends with more of this bullshit fake chatter, which I think should probably go on our list of warning signs that you're making a bad album.
Yeah. What stood out to me about that chatter at the end, Tim, is I am an acute study of the vocal stylings of one Corey Feldman. This does not sound like the Corey I know. He's got a, dare I say, an urban twang, if you know what I mean. It is very uncomfortable. Actually, what's very special about the end of this is you can actually hear the very first time Corey Feldman attempted to use the word tight in open conversation.
Oh.
Spoiler alert, he fails.
Track number 10, Go For It, featuring Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg is a rumor in this song. I think he literally phoned it in.
And on the Today Show appearance, his part was played by Doc Ice. That's the one where he has the bizarre dance in the hoodie and then went viral based on his, we'll call them moves, I guess.
It is the perfect personification of the nightmare machine that is this album. You will watch it in abject horror, unable to stop until the 4 minutes are up.
And then you will share it with all your friends.
In some sort of weird, fraternal suffering.
It's perfect for this show.
If it had been one album long, Tim, 10 songs, I could have done this for 50 minutes. But 95 is asking way too much of us. We have real jobs. I mean, kind of. But they're time consuming.
The piano at the beginning of this song made me think this would actually be a real song. I mean, that devolves quickly into poorly arranged EDM.
And the lyrics are almost completely not even worth discussing. Rise above your obstacles, you got to reach for the sky. However, there are some very revealing phrases. The themes are very generic, but there's some key phrases in here that I think you and I picked up on that really hint at the state of Corey and how he views himself. Something that stood out to me was, they match your name with shame, they go and laugh at you, yet nobody knows their name. It sort of sounds like he knows we're laughing at him, but we're at least laughing at him as opposed to those people who we don't know that we're not laughing at. He would rather be laughed at than not known.
I think what he's saying is that we are laughing at him, but he is famous and we are not, so he wins.
Right.
I think this is a direct assault and challenge to us.
What do we have to do?
How do we respond? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I have Snoop Dogg waiting in a studio down the street. I mean, we're going to make a response to this.
When you say waiting, Tim.
Well, he's
have
just
you
sitting. I mean,
Snoop?
he's real high. He's having a great
fine?
time. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A lot of this song is about people laughing at him.
It's the longest album we've ever done, and it's got the least content.
Yes. Speaking of, track number 11, Test 1 featuring SB.
Earlier we discussed that they had to get Detective Jones for Test 1. Let's find out if we ever hear from her again. God damn it, Tim. It's his ground control to Major Tom. I think it's about a man who's going into space and is going to live on another planet, or is potentially dreaming about living on another planet. Does any of this sound accurate?
Maybe.
He talks about flying through space. He's waiting for the countdown, flying to the sky, never coming home soon. Yeah, I think this whole song is about a guy who gets launched into space, and he longs for the days where he can return, but time keeps passing by.
That sounds accurate. I don't give a shit about this song. I have nothing to say to it other than this: the outro is cruel.
How so?
Hey everybody, thank you so much for listening to Angelic to the Core. That's right, there's a whole other disc. Fuck you, Corey Feldman.
Yeah, it is terrible. All instruments in this song played by Corey Feldman, except there is no mention of who plays the saxophone, who is heard through the entire song. Did you hear the rap line, all Kelsey, no grammar?
I didn't.
It was pretty strong.
Oh, I like it. Good
But other
song.
than that, yes. Nope. Tim does not turn anything around. In fact, you're right. Let's move it along. We're ready for disc 2. Do we know which disc this one is?
This is Angelic, Rockadelic, and then in parentheses, To Rock.
So the other one was Funk.
Angelic, Funkadelic, To Dance is what the first one officially was called.
Okay. I'm not even going to dwell on it. Track number 1 on this bullshit, Seamless, featuring Fred Durst.
Fred Durst is objectively too good for this project.
Well said. I cannot disagree. Let me say this up front because I don't want to forget. This song opens so much better than any other song on the first disc, right?
Absolutely.
Like, it sounds like music.
Yeah, it's weird disco music, but if no one sang, it would at least be passable.
And that's what confuses me, because it does devolve into a Dursty nightmare of new metal at some point. But a good portion of this is very funky. But we just got done with the funk album.
Yeah, this is supposed to be the rock part.
It's almost as though somebody just got like really high on cocaine and decided to make a double album in 2 days. I'm sure that's not what happened.
Man, I think he worked on this for years and years.
God, you're probably right. Everything about it is cheap and wrong. We didn't even talk about the cover, Tim. It looks like it was done in Microsoft Paint from Windows 95.
Yeah.
And it's 2 homeless girls dressed in cheap lingerie struggling to hold up a 5'4", 138-pound man.
Yeah, they seem to be pulling him out of hell. Is that?
Yes.
Yeah. There's nothing good about this album.
This song I likened to a poor man's Uptown Funk until Durst turns it into Authentic Biscuit.
You know what? I'm fine with that, though. If the second disc of this was very Fred Durst influenced, it would be better. If he handed the reins over to Fred Durst, this would be better. Somehow.
If it was an hour of Fred Durst taking a difficult poo, it would be better.
Not a lot of people know this, but those are the only kind of poos Fred Durst has. Allegedly.
I don't want to hear about this. Allegedly, we do not know the consistency of Fred Durst's feces.
I mean, we do, but we don't want to get sued over Fred Durst's fecal consistency.
Well, the point is, we're not saying it. People are saying it. People are talking about the density of his poops. Okay?
Track number 2, Wanna Break Free, featuring The Truth Movement.
I was sad to learn the Truth Movement was his other band.
I think it's weird that it says featuring them because they are sort of his band.
This features a new singing style. I labeled it Bad Prince.
It starts off that way, but it turns into his attempt at making a Saint Anger era Metallica song.
Absolutely. They all kind of have this theme where they start one way and then there's a rock component.
Yeah, but even lyrically, man, I just gotta break free. I just broke free. That's 2003 Hetfield.
James, what do you want to do? I just want to break free. And then once you've broken free, what do you want to do? I want to have broken free. There you go. Thanks, Dr. Towel.
Go ahead and put me down as a co-author on this one.
What was that? Yeah. No.
Track number 3, Negativity.
This one goes out to the people who keep putting him down.
Of course.
He says that. He actually says that. You don't say that.
Yeah. And this is new metal. It sounds kind of Korn mixed with 9 Inch Nails.
I said Trent Reznor that morphs later into a Rob Zombie.
Yeah. I am not afraid of you, and you are not ashamed of me. I am all about the truth, and you are negativity. I like the idea that he is trying to will people to not think he is kind of embarrassing.
That's the big question, Tim. How self-aware is he?
Not at all.
Yeah, not at all. So to that end, does that mean that he thinks he's killing it?
He 100% does. Let me just take a break from this song for a second. He gave an interview where he's talking about how he views his music. This album specifically, he describes as literally a sound of the ages. He understands some people don't like it. He says, I was never told this music stinks or I just don't want to hear it, as typical turndowns from major labels go. Instead, I got lots of weird excuses like, the songs are catchy, but do you have to sing them? Or, not bad for an actor, but we don't feel you will have the time to dedicate to a music career. So,
what I'm hearing in those quotes is he doesn't recognize when people are letting him off nicely.
Yes.
If my teenage years did anything, it taught me to recognize a blow-off.
That's
I
true.
can recognize a blow off at 300 yards. You don't even have to open your mouth. When your eyes change to like blow off ready, as you're inhaling, I'm like, you know what? That was a joke. I was joking. I gotta go and never speak to you again. Whatever I said. That's my get out jail free card. I gotta go and then never speak to you again. And then I don't, which is why I'm down to you,
God
friend.
damn it. Track number 4. You got me.
Become a man, time to get that Hellcat plan, time to watch me step right out of place.
Got me. You got me. You're getting it all over me. What's happening in this song?
I assume he has transcribed the complaints of his angels, perhaps even his mangel, and he is just relaying them verbatim.
I don't know, Tim, because the next line is, I'm down on my knees and I'm begging you please to stop. Oh, you know what? Probably. Yeah, probably. Do you think he has a mangel hanging around there?
No. Maybe. No. Man, do you think if Corey Haim was still alive, this would have been a duet?
I don't think so. I don't recall Haim having any sort of musical talents whatsoever.
Well, I don't recall Corey Feldman having any musical talent whatsoever.
I honestly believe that there is musical talent under all of this. Like, hey, my friend plays guitar level of music talent. Not like, let's make an album.
I don't see it.
Well, right. That's because he tried to make an album. If I work really hard and then I show you me playing, I don't know, what's something everybody knows.
Voodoo Child Slight Return.
Perfect.
What?
If I played Old Man, that's a song you love. So if I played that for you, you'd be like, wow, that's really good. And then if I was just like, now I'm going to play all of Harvest, you would not enjoy that because there's no way I can play all of Harvest as well as I can play one song.
That's fair.
There's just one line I have to mention. You know they say when shit goes down, it rains, it pours, and shit rolls downhill. Well, I'm at the bottom and I'm a mess. That's not good. That's not what you put in a song.
That's like something you shout at somebody that's just
opposing
broken
army.
up with you.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm rolling in my emotional feces.
And then whenever they look at you in disgust, you try and claim it's metaphorical, but it's clear it's not.
No, there's no hiding real feces.
Hashtag there's no hiding real feces.
That's way too long. Hashtag it's poop. Hashtag that's not pudding.
Track number 5, Baby Blue Eyes. It's a song he wrote for his son, which is fine. Keeping that in mind, the lyrics are still creepy as fuck.
Oh, the whole thing comes off so creepy.
Yeah. He moans, dejected. Daddy's here.
I had to listen a couple times to be sure that it was actually about his child because it's not sung that way.
It becomes the worst Boys to Men you've ever heard.
At the beginning of the song, we get like a very Bowie-esque baby blue eyes.
Yeah.
And then later, as you mentioned, it devolves into a weird R&B style that, I mean, he doesn't even remotely pull off. They auto-tune it and they octuple track it so that they can just bury him in noise. But the more you do that, the harder it is to even understand what he's saying. It just becomes it sort of sounds like a ransom recording.
Then it changes again. It sounds like something Chris Gaines would write.
Oh, the softcore porn music.
You get those Troil lyrics. I give thanks to my wife for creating a life. I'm so thankful, baby blue eyes.
It's just garbage.
And then he sings You Are My Sunshine, the nursery rhyme.
I would say he threatens the nursery rhyme, You Are My Sunshine. Track number 6, For My Love.
Almost like a dream. Our eyes was met across the room.
Good God, it gets worse.
Tim, sometimes words don't express the feelings we really mean, so I wrote these feelings for you.
Cue the worst version of Matchbox 20 or shitty 90s alt rock mixed with shitty R&B.
The guitar opening reminds me of the opening to TLC's No Scrub. Doodle-doo-doo.
Yeah.
Doodle-doo-doo. Doodle-doo-doo.
You get the drum machine sounding drums, record scratches, and then that acoustic guitar, which kind of sounds like the worst version of Everlast or maybe Everclear with the acoustic guitar over the, the fucking drums. I always forget which one is which, but
I think you mean Everlast. I think it sounds like a Mandy Moore song if you just didn't have an idiot write it. And you could still call it For My Love and leave in the obnoxious for instead of the actual word because we're not adults anymore and everybody writes like this.
What does the line bring the stars up to the moon mean?
I don't fucking know, man. Nothing. It means nothing because this guy's an asshole. I just find it all very fraudulent, Tim. I don't buy for a minute this guy feels authentic feelings.
If it doesn't end soon, I'm going to fucking lose it.
All right, Tim. Well, no, I need to know you agree. This guy's empty inside, right?
Yeah, you can always recognize another.
Wow. Apt. Track number 7. We Wanted Change.
I like this song, but not for the reason he thinks I will like this song.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm curious to hear why you think he thinks you will like this song. I also like this song for a very strange reason as well. So why do you like it, and why does he like you delight? You go ahead.
Corey Feldman thinks I will like this song because he thinks it's a good song. I like this song because for some reason he does jazz scatting, and the chorus, Garrett, is delightful.
It is. It really is delightful. I can't stop singing it. There's a lot in here, Tim. If we spend any time on any song on this entire album, I want to spend just a minute on this one. We agree. It's unlike anything else on the album.
Yeah.
He scats his way into the song. It is better written than all the other songs.
Yes.
I'm going to read some lyrics, and I'm not, saying that he's fucking Bill Shakespeare, but this isn't terrible. Through the trees I see my childhood, I blow a kiss to the younger days. About the change it keeps its promise, but I'm the only one to get my way. So it rhymes, it's in the same number of syllables it needs to be, and it's even somewhat poignant.
Yeah.
Time continues as promised, and he's the only one who gets his way, that is to stay the same.
Yeah.
I think this is the most honest expression of Corey Feldman on the whole 2 discs.
See, I disagree with that. I think this is the most dishonest because it's by far the best. It is
written, mixed, recorded, and performed entirely by him. Nobody did anything on this recording but him.
Interesting.
People came in the next day and he was like, hey, I have this.
I bet they were thrilled. No, they probably hated it.
I'm sure if they were willing to participate in the rest of this fucking rape of American decency, Tim. Decency did die in 2016. Corey Feldman killed it.
I have this a bit later, but this is the worst thing that happened in our country in 2016.
Who knew?
Lyrically, it seems like he's attempting to make like a Simon and Garfunkel Hazy Shade of Winter or Mamas and the Papas California Dreaming. And he kind of Robert Goulets it, but there's a lot of like late September, leaves are turning, not too long before they're blown away. Yeah.
It's not great, but compared to the rest of Ascension, Millennium,
again, that
4.5 minutes.
By no means the worst.
We were together. We were the same. I just keep picturing like a very high John Lennon in a closet somewhere. And just Paul McCartney going fucking room to room in a 36-room mansion. John, we're going to get pizza in the closet, mate. I got to close the door. I'm doing something.
Oh.
Got to get back to my roots.
Well, I'm sure that's the last time John Lennon will be mentioned in this episode. Track number 8, Take a Stand. I think this song, or at least the concept for this song, again, is stolen from Simon and Garfunkel.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to let you say it, because the moment I heard it, I was like, oh, Tim's going to talk about Silent Night, so hit it.
Yeah, so this starts off with news clips about Syria and Iraq. There's mentions of like armored trucks, North Korea, stuff that definitely won't age poorly. Then he starts to play shitty pop music over this. Simon and Garfunkel did this extremely well. They played 6 o'clock news footage of the Vietnam War and Watergate. Then they just played a solo piano version of Silent Night over it, and it was fucking great. This is a ripoff of that, and it's bad.
That implies he has any awareness whatsoever of that.
Unlike this Simon & Garfunkel song, this is super self-centered, but I can't stop all the pain of the lives that are being lost, and I pray we refrain from winning at any cost. How does any of this involve you?
I think you should enlist.
Man.
Let's get Corey in the army.
I'd watch that reality show.
It's going to be a very short show.
He's got a lot of pent-up rage. It might go real well for him.
I think if you shaved his head, you'd be shocked at how big his skull is. He has a suspiciously wide face that he hides up with hats and a lot of hair.
You think that's what the hats and the hair are for?
He has the face of a square or cube. It reminds me of those old big TVs you had to put on the ground that had wood paneling.
But instead
it's got eyes and a nose.
So regal.
What?
No, the TV's not a stupid face.
No, I say what to both, sir, because we had one, and it was not regal. You know what laminate wood looks like? It's literally wallpaper that looks like wood on the side of an electronic device.
Oh.
Why would they do that?
Ours was plated in cherry wood.
You have your butler turn it on for you?
He wasn't a butler, but he was a guy that his job was to change the channels.
He just did that?
Yeah, he was the remote. I mean, he was a remote control, sure.
No, we didn't even. I was the remote control in my family then.
Right, we had a Garrett. I mean, he had to dress a lot nicer
This
than you.
is demeaning.
Just stood next to the television and you'd call out what channel and he'd put it on that channel.
Did he speak English?
Absolutely, Garrett.
Did you speak to him?
I mean, I yelled numbers at him. Not speaking. I mean, he's essentially just an appliance. Why would I speak to him? Do you speak to your blender? I mean, do you speak? Yeah. Do you go and have a conversation with your refrigerator? No. It's a fucking object. I'm not talking to him.
Ooh, I said volume down, remote. My name is Carl.
No, okay. He was the channel guy. There was a different guy for the remote.
Oh, come on
Or
now. You had a different guy for volume.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up?
Saudi
Jesus
Arabia,
Christ.
Garrett.
Oh, right. You can buy and sell people there all the time. I don't know where your passport went. Better go get me a pair.
Dude, they fucking did that. Anyone that came into the country that was working gardening, the company took their passports away from them. You know, we'll pay you, we may not pay you. It doesn't really matter. You don't have a passport, you can't go anywhere.
Okay, Tim. Track number 9. Remember 222 in parentheses. Corey's song.
I'll let you take the lead. I assume that this had a very special meaning for you.
Big impact. I got pretty teary. It's a tribute, really. A tribute to his good pal, Corey Haim, who lost his life due to a series of very controllable and really self-inflicted mistakes that everyone around him warned him he was making, and he had an abundant number of chances to turn his life around, but chose to continue to make several selfish choices that impacted not only himself but those around him. But that wasn't really his concern.
Specifically, it impacted Garrett.
And this is a tribute to that man.
I think you should put your Corey Haim back tattoo on Instagram so our listeners can see it.
I will consider that. It is not that I'm ashamed of it, Tim, but it's very personal to me, as you know. It's not as though I don't go shirtless at the beach. I just have a small cutout the size of my back that I tape there so that no one can see my Corey.
This has a lot of movie samples.
Oh, sure does. As a tribute to Haim, I was like, okay, well, that's kind of cool. There's no way he got the rights to this, though. But it's not just Haim. It's also a whole bunch of Feldman.
Well, you know,
so it's also kind of a tribute to himself.
This is probably the song that they will play at the Oscars after Corey Feldman dies and he is honored.
He will be forgotten.
Oh,
they did it to Dennis Farina. They can do it to Corey Feldman.
I don't know who Dennis Farina is.
He was the Snatch. You see Snatch?
Yeah.
Abby, we're going to London.
Oh, I like him. That's
we all
sad.
do.
You shouldn't snub Snatch.
Yeah, no remembrance. So they can totally forget Corey Feldman. In fact, if Corey Feldman gets it, it's like going and urinating on the grave of Dennis Farina.
This is kind of a sad song. A lot of it seems to be not really a tribute to Corey Haim as much as Corey Feldman just wanting to be young again.
Right, it's a tribute to their former glory.
Remember back when we were kids, laughing at the things we did, made the most of every day. We altered our reality. It's not particularly deep. It's just a good, wholesome song about getting high with his buddy.
I want to know, Tim, what do you think the 222 is a reference to?
I'm not sure.
I did a lot of digging. And the best I can tell is when you do research on 222, you get a whole bunch of astrological bullshit. So here are some results I got regarding the use of the number 222. Seek balance. 2 is the number of partnership and relationships. When you see 222, pay attention to the people who are showing up in your world. You might be bumping into a soulmate or a soul friend, someone who will play a significant role in your world. What?
Ugh, but I mean, that does sound like what he was going for.
Yeah, and it seems like the kind of psychobabble nonsense you could convince an idiot to do.
Yeah, I think I'll probably write something similar after you two die of quote-unquote pneumonia.
Really specific. Why am I going to die of pneumonia? And why did you say quote pneumonia?
Oh, well, because that's what Corey Haim died of, technically.
Oh, right. And that brings us to track number 10, Mercy.
starts off like he's trying to set the mood for like a Lord of the Rings movie or something with the opening flute bullshit.
I thought it opened again like softcore porn.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. I think we're on the same page.
Find the Lord of the Rings erotic?
Yes. Do you not?
Of course not.
It is, though.
What part exactly? The feet? Aragorn?
Well, there's a volcano. There's a giant bird.
You find those things erotic?
I do.
What? You find volcanoes erotic?
Yes. I have had a lot of near misses involving volcanoes and my budding sexuality.
I gotta tell you, man, if you had to have a weird sexual fetish, volcanoes is pretty good. Well, I guess not. I mean, depends, right? So if it's just watching volcanoes, then boom, you don't even have to go on private browse for that. You can just watch. I'm a
still
volcano
should, though.
You could be the biggest volcano enthusiast on the planet, and with the exception of you, me, and the thousands of people listening to this podcast, no one's ever gonna think, I bet that guy jerks off to volcanoes. He loves them so much.
See,
and why would you?
And this is a great business idea. A few years ago, a couple of people were sitting around and one of them said, I'm sexually attracted to quicksand and watching people die in it. And today we have quicksandvids.com and those people are fucking millionaires.
I don't think they're millionaires.
You don't?
But, okay, guys, I got to issue a real warning. I don't know. Well, no, I know you've been to it, Tim, because you reacted after I sent you the link. But quicksandvids.com is, I mean...
arousing is what it is.
No.
It's arousing if you are sexually attracted to watching people pretend to die in quicksand.
Yes.
Fully clothed people. There's no sexuality.
Well, that's not entirely accurate. They are clothed, but they're sometimes in bikinis, and there's definitely a dominance aspect from the standpoint that the woman is slowly sinking into a bog and no one's helping her.
All right.
What I was starting to say, Tim, before you got really excited about it, this might fall in the Mr. Hands file. Just don't.
Yeah.
Don't Google it.
Don't email us to let us know if you are attracted to melted rocks or soft sand.
Email us.
No, I don't.
I would love to know.
Okay.
Soft sand. Soft sand.
I don't really understand the physics of quicksand.
Softsandvids.com, their latest competitor. We've got the softest sand.
Oh.
Some of the other websites that just have a bog. What is that, Pete Moss? We've got the softest, silkiest sand to sink your struggling starlets.
Let me read to you some of the lyrics from Mercy.
Hit it.
I was walking down the street, and I was hurting, thinking about and I think he says needs, the world is toxic and mankind is a disease. This is an observation essentially stolen from the Matrix movies. Mankind is just a disease on the earth and...
Oh, okay, yeah. Yes, absolutely. And then that is followed by 29 Lord have mercies and 28 and 28 mercy on my souls. How they convinced a choir and children's choir to come in for this pile of shit is beyond me. But, I mean, hey, it's paycheck, right?
You know, how much do you think Fred Durst or Snoop Dogg made?
I think Snoop Dogg actually called from a car phone because he doesn't sound like Snoop.
I'm saying, how much do you think Corey Feldman paid them to be on this album?
I understand what you're asking. I'm setting the table.
Okay.
So Snoop, you didn't have to come in. It was one take. I bet he made $100,000.
Okay. So you're saying Snoop Dogg up front made more money on this than Corey probably did.
Oh, I don't doubt that for a moment. You know how many of these he has in his garage?
How much did Fred Durst make?
He probably broke even. At the very worst, it's a tax write-off.
After seeing the final product, knowing that you would be judged as if this was a representation of you trying, every job interview that you go on for the rest of your life, you have to bring a boombox and play the song that you are on in its entirety before saying anything during that interview. How much would Corey Feldman have to pay you to be on this album?
$4 million.
Okay. I think that's about right.
This whole thing is really embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, we're underselling it. We're not doing it justice. What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
That really brings us to what couldn't possibly be a greater cherry on this Sunday of shit. Track number 11, Working Class Hero.
Class hero is something to be.
I think this song has some of the best lyrics Corey Feldman has ever written.
I hate you. Of course, it's a cover of John Lennon's Working Class Hero. I will say this, Tim, controversial. He plays all the instruments on this rendition. His voice is garbage, but it is not the worst cover we've ever seen.
Debatable.
No, U2's Hallelujah. Fuck you.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. You're right.
Never
You're right.
forget.
Have you heard Marilyn Manson do Working Class Hero?
I don't think so.
It's not the worst cover ever, but it sounds like this is Corey Feldman doing a cover of the Marilyn Manson cover. It sounds like he might not know this is a John Lennon song.
Again, he played all the instruments.
Yeah.
And he played them competently. That's something. It's just if I were to send you this copy of Working Class Hero and I sounded like him, it'd be bad, but you'd be like, that's kind of impressive.
Yeah, that's fair.
The difference is it's that consistent problem through the whole album. You cannot take somebody who would be tolerable as your friend and then give them a record contract.
It's strange. He has the balls to change the lyrics of this song.
Oh, I didn't pay attention.
Oh, yeah. He changes a bunch of the pronouns and he drops the fucks from the lyrics for some reason.
Maybe he thought it was going to go big.
Oh, yeah. He wanted to make it radio friendly. Delusional
maybe.
fuck. The Angels doing backing vocals on this song was a particularly poor decision.
Yeah.
And of course, he feels the need to add on one last shitty Satan God skit.
Yeah, he's locking the angels back in their cages.
They have returned. They're coming back to heaven and they will be locked in their
angel cages.
Yeah.
And then this nightmare ends. Tim, how'd this thing do?
No idea.
Sounds good. Let's assume that it cost him hundreds of thousands of dollars. All right. Reviews, Tim. What did people have to say about it?
Well, we don't have much from the critics. There were 41 Amazon reviews. It got 3.6 out of 5 stars on average. 61% gave it a 5-star and 27% gave it 1 star. This was a little bit trickier than usual this week. A lot of the reviews on here were clearly filled out ironically, and I did my best to exclude any of those. The first review that I have from Amazon, this is called Went For It and Won Big Time. I ordered 2 copies of this CD as Christmas presents. Several friends are big fans of Corey's filmography, and I knew this would be right up their alley. Needless to say, they were ecstatic when they learned of their gifts. They exclaimed things such as, "No words," and "Seriously?" Oh yes, I was quite serious indeed. I had a hard time pinning down quite what the style was, as it seemed to change from one track to the next. Very accurate. If you're a fan of Corey's work, Angelic to the Core is devilishly fun. See what I did there? Anyway, the CD arrived quickly and the packaging was solid. We've had issues with holiday package thieves recently, so I was a little worried about it being swiped from my doorstep, but they seem to have missed it.
Why is this in the review?
Huzzah! 5 stars.
God damn it. Okay, so I think you may have honestly found a review where that person did not recognize 2 people reacting as nicely as they humanly could while screaming inside, what the fuck?
Next review is by Andrew, and it's called Great Albums Have Profound Messages. Not since The Clash's Sandinista have we seen such a disquietingly provocative double album. Great albums have profound messages. Transcendent albums reorder both our dreams and the language we use to fabricate them. Corey Feldman's Angelic to the Core is the latter, way latter. In Ascension Millennium, the album's opening track and manifesto, Feldman talks about giving toys to his soul, boldly implying that the spirituality trap is an even bigger illusion than God ever was. The tone for the next 68 minutes, that's not accurate, of your life has been set. No one is getting out with any consolation for his shame. By track number 6, Feldman uses logic to obliterate the concept of mercy. Feldman's a death crooner, not a soul singer. In his pipes, there is pre-sleep apnea Leonard Cohen soprano with hints of Geddy Lee and notes of Vince Neil. And that voice belongs to a sadist for whom all he touches turns not to gold, but weapons. A murderer is defined as someone who takes from you everything you ever had and everything you ever will. But what do you call someone who does all that and leaves you breathing? You call him Corey.
Jesus Christ.
That might be the guy that wrote the Jack White review.
Maybe. This person scares me more and more the more we hear. Tim, nobody listened to this album more than you and I. I guarantee you Corey didn't listen to it this many times. None of the things that you just read are in there.
Of course not.
Not even sort of.
Not.
It's the, yeah.
Another one here, it's called There Is Love in the Work. Picking Corey apart for this record has been an exercise in age shaming, talent shaming, white privilege shaming, Michael Jackson shaming, and on and on. Corey clearly put his heart into the record. There are flashes of exceptional music. We should all be free to live our dream and not be destroyed on the internet because how somebody performs doesn't fit your particular version of excellence. You have to take the music in the spirit in which it was given and not compare every artist to the incomparable. Corey, if you're reading this, I believe in you and would love to record with you because I see in your work the love you put into it. 5 out of 5 stars.
Sounds like Corey's just got himself another angel.
Oh, yeah, that is how you accidentally wind up in a cult.
So I don't think there's any accident about that one. I think somebody was signing up wholesale. But I want to be clear. It is clearly a cult.
Yes.
It is a cult where you don't have to have sex with him.
But you will.
Of course. Everybody does.
I have one more review for you. It is called He Names Names in the Lyrics by Chris. If you listen to the lyrics carefully, especially in Go For It, he practically tells you who the Hollywood pedophiles are. It's a very Hamlet way of doing it. It took him 10 years to make this because writing confessions in code is difficult and time-consuming. 4 out of 5 stars.
What? Now.
Those are some of the best reviews we've had in a while, man.
Good reviews, Tim. Okay, Tim, that brings us to who is this for?
It's for this show and people who listen to the show exclusively.
Yeah, this might even be for the people that are real dedicated. I mean, I know I've hated this. We'll cut it up nice, but folks, never again. Luke, you're on the list.
Yeah.
I will still write down your suggestions because they're great, but I am not promising you they're getting immediately on the show. They're going to get a little more investigation, a little more research.
I think we give him a 10-year ban. 10 years from now, if he's still listening, and if we haven't murdered each other, he gets to suggest another album.
It's hard for me to argue that seems extreme, knowing that you're coming all the way back from murder.
Yeah.
And that's huge for you. You're meeting me halfway. But no, he's too valuable to the show, Tim. He's given us some great suggestions. Meet with the board, see what their recommendation is, figure out what's fair. That brings us to final thoughts.
So this whole album feels like a Stephen King short story about a Faustian bargain in which Corey Feldman wished to become a musician that the whole world would notice, but he forgot to be like a little more specific, so that wish came true in the worst possible way ever. I can understand why he thought he could get away with a John Lennon cover, because...
Do you?
I do, because this is an album, a double album, filled with nothing but Revolution 9s.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that doesn't justify this.
No, I know, but I think that he was just like, well, all of my songs sound like John Lennon songs, so I'll just do a John Lennon cover.
Point, Corey. I feel like we haven't done our due diligence. Every aspect of this is so piss poor. They wanted $100,000. They got $15,000. Tim, the fundraiser's over. We didn't quite get what we asked for, but we did get 15% of it. Okay, well, we'll just make it work. See, everybody gave their 15%, because that's basically how it works out.
Yeah, that's
15% effort across the board, 100% effort, Corey. Yeah. See, now that's the problem. You want to flip that ratio.
I do want to flip that ratio.
Yeah, you want a 15 to 1. So if you can only pay everybody to do 15% of what they should be doing, you're going to get this garbage. The cover kills me. It's worth Googling, folks. If you don't want to hear any of this, and I don't blame you, Google the cover of this. It's so shitty. In fact, you guys could make a better one in 5 minutes.
This is an excellent argument. I've said this before on some other album, but this is an excellent argument for judging a book by its cover accurately.
Do you hate this album?
Oh God, yes. This is without question the worst album we've ever done.
We just had our worst week.
Yeah.
I hope. Good God, what if it gets worse?
Garrett, what about you? Did we pull you back from the hate?
Of course not, Tim.
Okay.
I've exceeded hate. Tim, this is the first time. No, I do not hate this album. I have contempt for it.
You are right.
I spite this album. Mm-hmm. Oh, I smote it. Can I smote it?
You can smite. Yeah.
I smite this album.
It will have been smoten by you soon.
How exactly is that going to work?
After you smite it, it has been smoten.
Nothing has to happen. I don't need to like send him a card.
Well, you gotta go through the action of smiting it. We should not record discussing you smiting
Tim, I'm
him.
sorry. It's my first smiting.
Hey, buddy, you're gonna do great. I believe in you.
God, I love it when you encourage me. I wish you wouldn't touch the small of my back.
That's how I let you know that I'm on your side.
It doesn't feel that way. All right, Tim, that brings us to the end. You hate it. You stayed there. And honestly, I think you got there in the time between when I asked you if you hate it and before we started the song by song.
Oh, yeah.
I hate it. It's terrible, guys. Back to something a little more relatable and at least tangible next week, I hope. Oh, right. I remember what's next week. That will be a lot more fun. This has still been a lot of fun. This is the part where I ask, guys, if you can rate, review, subscribe. It makes a big difference, helps us rise in the rankings. Then folks who haven't heard about us, they check out the show, and so on and so on. Also, reach out to us. We're on Twitter at ALBUM HatePod, on Instagram at HatePod. You can go to hatepod.com and you can download the show. You can find all of the episodes in every possible podcasting format you can dream of. You can write to us. You can click on Contact Us in the upper left-hand corner. Tell us a funny story. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Suggest new albums. We did a mailbag episode not too long ago. They're already starting to stack up again. You have something you want to get read on this show, you got to send it to us. You can click on Contact Us in the upper left-hand corner. You can just email us directly at hatepodmail@gmail.com, and like it or not, we'll probably respond to you. Tim, did I leave any out?
Nope.
All right. For Why I Hate This Album, I have been one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey.
I've been the other, Tim Richardson.
The riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.